A lot of people think obedience is doing everything perfectly, avoiding mistakes, trying hard enough, or checking spiritual boxes. But Jesus made it simple. He said in John 14:15, "If you love me, keep my commands." Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From Brokenness to Fullness podcast. Today, we are starting a brand new series on something that is absolutely essential for every Christian. But, you know, it's just rarely talked about honestly, and that is obedience. Not the heavy, legalistic, guilt based obedience many people grew up with, but the kind of obedience that brings clarity, peace, freedom, and spiritual power. The kind of obedience that actually leads to fullness. And today, in this episode, we are talking about what biblical obedience really means. So, obedience isn't about fear, it's not about being good enough, it's not about performing for God, it's about love. Obedience is a love response, a heart posture, a relationship, not a requirement. Meaning, you obey God not because you are scared of punishment, but because you trust His heart. You trust His motives. You trust His goodness. Obedience is saying, "Lord, I choose your way over mine because I know you love me too much to lead me wrong." That's where obedience becomes beautiful. Not controlling, not complicated, not stressful, just love. Pure love. So, let's talk truth. All right? Obedience. Obedience is not punishment, but it's protection. God's instructions aren't to restrict your life, they are to guard your life. Every boundary God places is because He sees what you can't. He sees the consequences you don't see. He sees the traps, the distractions, the spiritual dangers. So when God says, "Don't do this or walk away from that," it's not because He is trying to control you. It's because He is trying to cover you. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." A lamp doesn't limit you, it guides you safely. And that is obedience. If you've ever felt like you couldn't hear God, like your life felt so confusing, like you didn't know what to do next. Here's the truth. Are you ready? Obedience clears the noise. God isn't obligated to give a new instruction when we haven't followed the last one he gave. Many unanswered prayers are not because God said no, but because he is waiting for obedience. Obedience opens spiritual vision. It literally sharpens your ability to hear him. Some breakthroughs don't come through prayer, they come through obedience. But the hardest part of obedience is this: you don't always understand the why. You won't always get the details. You won't always get the timeline. You won't always get the explanation. But hear this: you will always get the promise. Isaiah 55:9 reminds us, my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Obedience means I don't understand it yet, but I trust you anyway. Real faith isn't shown when everything makes sense. Real faith shows up when God asked you to step without seeing the whole path. And I know every one of you thinks this is so difficult because we always want to know and we always want to see. Moreover, we always want guarantee. But that is not faith, my friend. There have been so many times in my life when God asked me to obey before I had clarity. Looking back, those were the very seasons that shaped me. When I waited 12 years to move in the US, when I surrendered my anger, when I asked God to soften my heart towards towards my family, when I started this coaching journey, when I stepped into leadership. None of those moments made sense at first. But obedience opened the door for God to do what only He could do. Obedience is where transformation begins. Friend, obedience isn't about perfection, it's about posture, it's about surrender, it's about trust, it's about love. If you want freedom, clarity, purpose, and spiritual influence, it starts with a willing heart. This entire series will help you grow into that. Not out of pressure, but out of love. Next week, we are diving into delayed obedience is still disobedience. It's a message every single Christian needs to hear. Thank you so much for listening. Share this with someone God is calling into a deeper walk of obedience. I'll see you inside the next episode. I love you and God bless. Bye for now.